Welcome to the 2018 HSBC UK National Women's Road Series. We're here in Yorkshire for the Barnsley Town Centre races. Back in May, we embarked on this journey to find the most consistent and well-rounded rider here in the UK. And we're getting very close to finding out who will take the title. Here's what's happened so far. We've seen some tremendous racing this season, with national champion Jess Roberts taking the win in Stockton last round. This series has tested the riders to their very limits, with all types of terrain and different styles of racing. As we head into tonight's round, the standings look like this. Sophie Wright, just 19 years old, leads by a whopping 35 points over three-times series winner Nikki Juniper. The NJC BMA Echelon rider has Anna Henderson and Jess Roberts hot on her heels, however, with just 5 points separating the three riders. Sophie, no Nikki Juniper racing here tonight, and I know you're keeping a very close eye on the points, so talk me through the permutations of Nikki not riding.
Yeah, so I've got a 35-point lead at the moment, but I made a last-minute decision to enter this yesterday because I didn't want to risk anything really going into Rydale in case anything happened in Rydale, so I didn't want to kind of risk losing the jersey really.
And you're just 19 years old. Did you expect at the start of the season that you'd be coming out in the penultimate round as the overall leader and by some distance as well?
Not really. I mean, I usually give everything my best shot. And coming sixth at Lincoln, I was pretty disappointed with, but then the next round coming second, I was thinking, oh yeah, this could be pretty good actually. So yeah, I've decided to just commit to the whole series now, and it'll be pretty mega to finish it off.
Tonight's racing is on a new and technical 1.1 kilometre circuit. The race starts and finishes in Church Street, then a sharp right-hand corner onto Eastgate. A technical chicane section follows before another tight corner onto Eldon Street. A sweeping bend onto Market Hill leads into the uphill, finishing straight.
I think tonight is just about kind of scoring a few more points. It doesn't have to be maximum points. But yeah, I think it would be good to kind of almost just have a bit of fun with this race and kind of follow and yeah, see what happens. But I haven't been around the course, but apparently it's got a bit of a kicker in it.
I'm a little bit nervous about the little downhill and the chicane. I'm really hoping it doesn't rain, but there's a bit of a hill which does suit me, and then it's just as long as I'm positioned well, I should be okay.
Cast your mind back to 1 week ago. What are your memories of that night in Stockton?
Oh, it's still not real, to be honest. I'm still just kind of going around like a little bit of a rabbit in headlights. But yeah, it's been a pretty epic week. Unfortunately, we didn't manage to get a jersey made up, but hopefully for the next one we shall.
And your form this year has been incredible. Obviously, you've come from alpine skiing. Did you ever imagine at the start of the year you'd be in a national jersey and you'd be, well, potentially second tonight in the overall standings?
Oh, I mean, I definitely didn't. I mean, I had ambitions too, but I definitely didn't think it would happen at all. So yeah, really chuffed with how it's gone.
And the team as well, how much confidence has your win made them feel?
I mean, definitely morale's high. You know, a big win always gets the morale high in the team, and yeah, we just keep having fun really and just having a laugh, and yeah, it's good fun.
So all eyes on those individual and team standings here in the penultimate round in Barnsley. Let's get straight to the action with our commentators Hannah Walker and Rebecca Charlton.
Well, we're now in Barnsley for the penultimate round of the HSBC UK National Women's Road Series. It's been such an exciting season so far, and a lot has happened in the last few weeks. Jess Roberts now wears the National Road Race stripes. Anna Henderson won't be in her jersey today, but she's the newly crowned Queen of the Crits, and it's Sophie Wright who sits in the HSBC UK white leaders jersey. Hannah, coming into this series, did you predict all these things taking place?
No, I think this has been one of the most exciting series that since the Women's Road Series was introduced. Lots of winners who you might not have thought might have taken a win. You know, Bex Doyle took a fantastic win at Lincoln Grand Prix on home soil, and yeah, Anna Henderson's absolutely dominated from round to round.
And talking of Anna Henderson, cycle team on form, supported by Brother and her dominance, she has already attacked. That breakaway has formed.
Yeah, we've got a group of 5 just going clear there. I think there's 2 story riders, and obviously Anna Henderson here on the front with the pink and celeste arms on her skin suit. I think is that Joe Tinley there is in there as well, silver medalist at the National Criterium Championships just a week ago, and it's Beth Crumpton from Story Racing now on the attack, so she's coming into good form towards the back end of the season.
Team Story Racing, we've seen so consistent and a lot of dominance from them overall as a team, but they'll really want to do something in Barnsley today.
Yeah, they've brought a strong team to Barnsley tonight. They've got Bex Durrell, the winner, like I said before, of Lincoln Grand Prix. They've got EJ Harris, who's on the front now. So she's made it across into this group. Very strong sprinter, but she unfortunately had a crash in the national road race, and also in the Crit Champs a week ago. So depending on how she's recovered from that, would depend on how she goes tonight.
So it's EJ Harris here, forming a trio breakaway with Jo Tinley and Anna Henderson, but they're just coming up to what it looks like is a dropped rider here. So hopefully we've just seen her move out of the way to the side of the road as they took that corner there. But Anna Henderson, a cycle team on form, let's talk a little bit more about her form this year, because in the Crit Championships, she showed her dominance, she rode away, and as we see her inject more pace, she's just so at home in these solo attacks.
Yeah, she's so strong, and she's relatively new to the cycling scene after coming from alpine skiing, and she's on the bend on her technical abilities, her fitness. She's just a racer, and she loves to get stuck in, and she doesn't wait for anybody. She's just confident and she's keen, and yeah, she's just creating all the moves.
Just see these constant injections of pace here, and the cornering now that she's got, clearly from her background in skiing, absolutely no fear there. As with the other two in this trio, just seeing Jo Tinley here, she's been riding for so many years now, just 31 years of age still, but it's hard to believe that given how long she's raced.
Yeah, Jo's been racing since she was a young teenager, and she's seen the sport progress and come through the ranks, and she's raced at the top of the sport. She's been to the Youth Commonwealth Games, and yeah, it's great to see her form coming on. She got silver in the National Criterium Champs, and she was 5th in Stockton Road Race just a few days ago. So yeah, Nikki Juniper, her teammate, isn't here, who's usually the leader, so it's great to see Jo taking on that lead and really racing, and she's coming along fantastic.
Beth Crumpton here of Team Story Racing, just splitting away from the main peloton there. Of course, her teammate EJ Harris in this front breakaway. What's her game plan there?
I'd say we've been seeing that it's Meg Barker chasing the whole time. As soon as Meg pulls off, it's just Beth can attack, and it just forces Meg or another rider to have to chase back. So it plays into Story's hands. She's not dragging anyone from the peloton up to this lead group. So if she does make it to the trio, Story are in a very strong position. If she doesn't make it, she's still done a great job for the team, because it means that the other riders in the peloton have to chase her back and use their energy.
So Barnsley Town Centre races tonight, a course that we saw the 2015 Crit Championships, the Circuit Championships, take place on. And it's not a straightforward circuit, is it? Because some of those drags really bite.
Yeah, and it's a very technical circuit as well, so it's you're coming through the finish here, and it actually looks like a bit of a false flat. It's very uphill, and then you've got a sharp right hand turn, and then you've got this chicane here, as you can just see Anna Henderson taking it. She just flows through it, she doesn't break, she did perfect line, and then you've got a tight right hander at the bottom of that chicane, and then it comes back up, drags back up to the finish.
Interestingly, when we've heard Anna Henderson speak in interviews, she's ever modest, but she's talking a lot about how much she's learning. And that really intrigues me, because she's coming into those interviews from the point of view of taking so many podiums, so many wins, but she still feels like she's got a long way to go in the learning sense.
Yeah, I think from every race, she just gains more experience, and she tries new things. If she doesn't know what her limits are, she doesn't know what she can do, so she tries lots of different things, and it's starting to pay off for her, like as we saw in the Criterium Championship. She attacked only 5-10 minutes into the race and held on, and no one could bring her back, and she made this move here to form this breakaway, and it's worked for her. So she just tries new things, and the team, her cycle team on form, back her fully. They have good fun, they're all work together, and yeah, it's great to see someone just trying new things each race, and it actually pays off for her.
And what would be your predictions as to what might happen next for her next year? Because she really has been phenomenal. What a breakthrough season for her.
Yeah, it'd be fantastic to see her move up onto a bigger team. She might look to go to a UCI team. She's currently studying at the University of Birmingham, so she's in her first year. So whether she wants to combine those studies and go as a full-time professional, or she might want to stay with Cycle Team on Form and just gain a bit more experience before she makes that step up, so she doesn't feel it's such a big gap.
Yeah, and Cycle Team on Form, supported by Brother, we've said time and time again throughout this season they develop so much young talent, and they'll be so delighted to see her progression, and she's come in so strong to this season. We're seeing Jo Tinley of NJCBMA Echelon here. There's a little bit of a gap, but she always pushes back on. She's got so much now, hasn't she?
Yeah, I think she just sits off the back of the wheel so that she can flow around a little bit better, because it is tight, and if one of Anna or EJ make a mistake, it means that Jo's got time and room to correct their mistakes.
Time now for a quick break, but don't go anywhere. The action, fast and furious, will be back after this. Welcome back to the HSBC UK National Women's Road Series here in Barnsley. This race well and truly hotting up. Let's get straight to it.
Well, here we are back at the head of the action, led by Jo Tinley of NJCBMA Echelon, followed by EJ Harris of Team Story Racing, and in third place there, that's Anna Henderson of Cycle Team on Form, supported by Brother. A clear breakaway here, a gap behind them that formed pretty early on in this race. And these riders are really capable of pushing these turns, which has meant that they've got this significant lead.
Yeah, 5 laps to go now, and they're all working well together. They're all taking equal turns, and yeah, they're all very experienced riders, and you can just see that the time gap before was up to about 58 seconds. So unless something happens, there's no chance of the peloton catching them unless they start to play a bit of a game of cat and mouse.
And here is the peloton with Beth Crumpton of Story Racing. Of course, her teammate EJ Harris is in that breakaway, that trio up the front on the road. So she's just perhaps controlling things there, sitting on the front.
Yeah, Beth doing a great job of just patrolling the front of that peloton. We saw her before try to bridge across to this breakaway, it didn't work, and now she's just making sure that no one can get away, and they can now sprint for one of their other riders. Anna Kay, she can maybe win the bunch sprint for 4th place. So yeah, just keeping things under wraps. You can also see the teammate of Jo Tinley just sitting on her wheel, Gabby Shaw there.
Yeah, and it's Meg Barker there, tucked in the middle for once today in that peloton of Team Breeze in the red kit, and she's been instrumental in forming this chase. A really strong rider, the younger sister of Eleanor Barker, Olympic champion, and she's also a multi-discipline talent.
Yeah, very strong rider. She was doing most of the chasing tonight, and it's not paid off for her. She just missed the move when this trio went away, and it's a shame because she's very strong, but just unfortunately wasn't able to make it to bridge across. But yeah, there's only 2 riders from Team Breeze tonight, so they might have found it a little bit difficult because they've not got as much support and backup as they usually have.
Now we can see on the camera lens here just how much the rain is starting to fall. We can't necessarily see it too much on the road surface, but it is really starting to fall down now. And I mentioned that we had the Quint Championships back here in 2015, and on that top corner where the road surface changes, we saw so many people slide out. When you're looking at tyre pressures for a course that is so technical and sort of that safety element when you're pushing the corners, how much is that a consideration in Barnsley?
Yeah, you definitely have to think about the tyre pressures, especially because you go onto the paving stones, which are very slick. As soon as they get a little bit wet, it's like riding on ice. So, these riders will be riding a tyre pressure of about 80 to 90 psi. They will have seen the weather forecast as well. So, yeah, I think for the most experienced riders, they'll know exactly what kind of pressure to put in, especially on this tight technical circuit.
So we just got a glimpse there of EJ Harris of Story Racing, just a couple of glances over her shoulders. They know they've got this significant time gap now. Is it going to be a case of us starting to see the games play out?
Yeah, everyone will just be thinking of what they're going to do and how it's going to play out into the finish. They'll just be very cagey, watching each other. As you can just see now, Jo Tinley starts to just inject a little bit of pace, go to the front. She doesn't want to be surprised. You could see Jo before when Anna was making a few moves that she was kind of on the back, she was kind of struggling. She wasn't actually able to go with the pace straight away. She was able to slowly wind them back in. So Jo just, taking precautions, and it means that also if they kind of attack out of the corner, she's not so far behind and has to make up too much time. I think she's playing a very smart game here.
A smart game from Jo Tinley. As we've really come to expect from her over the years. We've talked about her level of experience, and she knows exactly what she needs to do to put herself in the best contention each and every time.
Yeah, and like I said before, she's usually a rider who works for Nikki Juniper predominantly. However, she knows exactly where to place herself, what her limits are in a corner, how fast she can corner, and also, you know, her bike handling skills. She also does cyclocross, so her bike handling skills are absolutely fantastic.
You mentioned Nikki Juniper there, team leader of NJCBM Echelon, and she's had more bad luck. She's at home sort of nursing more injuries.
Yeah, she crashed into the finish of the National Criterium Championships just a week ago, and she hasn't fully recovered from all the road rash. So it's a shame to not see her on the start line, because this is where she won the national stripes for the Criterium in 2015. But it's great to see that Jo has, you know, she's carrying on this form, and she's just in the right place at the right time. She's just proving how good she is.
And we keep getting a glimpse of that finishing drag up to the line. Quite often when we're watching on TV, it can look like just a little bit of a drag, a false flat perhaps, but how significant is that?
Yeah, it's actually quite a tough little climb. There's a little chicane as well, which we're just gonna, the riders are just gonna reach in a minute, and you kind of have to ease off a little bit because to get around, you see there, ease off, get around that jink, and then you can see it's just a real big drag up to the finish line, and it doesn't start to crest and plateau until we get to the right-hand turn. So Jo Tinley just keeping an eye on making sure that, you know, Anna or EJ don't make the jump on her. You know, there's only 2 laps to go, so that you can't afford to let any rider get away now, and you've just got to be on your game, on top of the game.
2 laps to go, and that time gap is now 58 seconds. The riders have had that indication from the roadside of that time check. They know where they are, and we're starting to see the looks over the shoulders, the game plans coming into tactical awareness, and Jo Tinley just trying to control things at the front. And this is Chanel Mason of Team Story Racing on the front of the peloton there. We've got a lot of strength of numbers here from Story Racing, and then those Team Breeze riders there who have really been chasing hard today.
Yeah, it's Janelle Mason, you know, just keeping the peloton strung out, because, you know, they have interest in getting Anna Kay up there for the sprint finish to win the bunch sprint. So, you just see AJ Harris comes fast around that corner, just nearly collides with the barriers. But, yeah, we're all safe and sound as we take this tight right-hander.
Just watching Anna Henderson there, just coming through those chicanes and those turns and those tight corners. She's just got such a style that's a joy to watch.
Yeah, she's so solid on a bike, and she's just, you know, she looks fluid. She's got a great cadence as well. You can just see, you know, she's not pushing too big a gear, she's not pushing the too smaller gear. And Anna
Henderson of Team On Form just slides out on that corner. We talked about the surface of these roads. They're very wet now. The rain's really come down, and she's taken a fall.
Yeah, you can just see she didn't particularly go too fast around that bend, but I think, you know, when the rain starts to fall here, it's relatively greasy. You know, the roads aren't soaking, but it's just that slick grease on the top layer of the tarmac, and Jo Tinley's been able to get a gap now, and it's EJ Harris in the background chasing, and I'm not sure if Anna will be able to get back in. You know, is EJ going to be able to get back to Jo, because it takes it out of you as well, you know, the crashing, but they have adrenaline. That's 1 point in the shot.
Well, straight up off the tarmac and back onto the smooth pedalling style that we're so familiar with from Anna Henderson. This front trio of breakaway riders is now split to pieces as they ride round this final loop in Barnsley. It's Jo Tinley that got round that crash, that slide out from Henderson, and she's now at the head of the action, followed by EJ Harris of Team Story Racing, and it is Henderson that is really chasing hard here.
Yeah, I think what Jo's game before, when she was leaving a gap on the back of the wheels, you can just see perfect for Jo, because obviously she missed that crash and she was able to get around safely. You can just see now EJ and Jo are back together, so, you know, I'm not quite sure that Anna will be able to get back to these 2 riders, but Jo just taking a little bit look behind her there.
Straight back up, pushing the corners as she has been this whole race. Psychologically, Hannah, how much will that be in her mind now?
Yeah, definitely. She'll be taking the corners a little bit more precautiously, but she's actually made real good inroads to these 2 riders. I mean, she's only probably got 500 metres to go now, so, you know, she just has to give it everything. But, you know, you can just see up in the head now, EJ Harris is riding away, and Jo looks absolutely exhausted.
It's EJ Harris now who's taken it on at the front, and she's down as well on that same corner we saw Henderson slide out on. Hannah, what happened there? It looked like she clipped a pedal.
Yeah, she was pedaling around the corner, which was a little bit bizarre, but she's clipped a pedal and she's come off just going into the finish, and it's now Anna Henderson who's taking it up with Jo in a wheel.
And it's Anna Henderson. She's come back from that crash. EJ Harris came down there on that final turn into this finishing drag, and it's Henderson who sits up, takes the victory. She might not have thought this was possible with a lap to go, but she showed her dominance once again.
Yeah, what a fantastic chase by Henderson, and you know, such a shame for EJ just crashing into that final bend.
And it was Jo Tinley that we saw cross the line taking second place, as it's Sophie Wright in that leader's jersey who battles for fourth position, but it's Meg Barker of Team Breeze after all that work that takes fourth, and it's Wright in fifth.
You can just see the dominance now of Anna Henderson, absolutely delighted. You know, she came back from that crash with a lap and a half to go, and yeah, fantastic.
So, reminder of that result, it's Anna Henderson of Cycle Team On Form that takes the win ahead of Jo Tinley of NJCBM Echelon, and it's EJ Harris of Story Racing in third.
Anna, congratulations. What an incredible win. But the finishing line didn't really tell the whole story. Talk us through your crash and then the chase back on that final lap.
Oh, it was complete mayhem out there. We got a gap pretty early, and then we were kind of playing with each other a little bit once we knew that we kind of had the skills in the corners. And then I knew that down in the kind of little kind of chicane, I got the speed. So in the second and last lap, I attacked here and went down, and then was absolutely hammering it around for the last corner and just absolutely slid out. And then I've never clipped in so quickly in my life and tried so quick. And then unfortunately, EJ came down in exactly the same place. So I just, pedal for all it's worth and ended up coming through first. So yeah.
But Jo and EJ both had a bit of a gap over you coming into that final lap. How on earth did you make up the time?
I think I nearly took my own life. I was going down there, I went so fast. I was just like, just last lap. I mean, you've already come off once, so if you come off again, then it happens again. So yeah, just went for it and it paid off.
And a win for you, valuable points as well in the overall standings. We'll look at sort of where it all adds up and the permutations, but you've got to be pleased with that.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's my first national series win as such, so yeah, it's good to get a win under the belt in the stripes. Unfortunately not in the stripes, but yeah, to have the title with me, so yeah, it's good.
And so after 6 rounds of racing and with just 1 to go, the standings overall look like this. Sophie Wright maintains her lead with 158 points. Anna Henderson jumps up to second with her win tonight with 127 points. Nikki Juniper, not racing tonight, but remains in third. Jessica Roberts, also absent from the Barnsley Town Centre races, in fourth. Her teammate from Team Breeze, Megan Barker, in fifth. Well, what a gutsy win that was for Anna Henderson of Team On Form, proving the national champion truly is the rider to beat in these circuit races. And of course, Sophie Wright maintains her lead in the overall standings in the Women's Road Series as well. The final round of that series, where it will all come to an end, is on the 26th of August in Ryedale. Why not join us roadside and come along and cheer on the riders? For everything else from the world of cycling, head to britishcycling.org.uk. But from us here at Barnsley Town Centre Races, bye for now and see you next time.